Every human effort and desire for changes, improvement, and progress needs research because relying on usual and former utility and functions of things without an improvement is like money kept inside a vault without using it or to be invested for profit. So, as a rational human being, we need to use our intelligence for success. And through research, we can attain what we need for changes and improvement. There are many definitions given about what is research, but according to Carter V. Good, research is a careful, critical, disciplined
Varying in
inquiry
technique and method according to the nature and conditions of the problem, identified, directed toward the classification or resolution or both of a problem. Gaudencio Aquino has more detailed definitions of research. He says that research is simply the systematic search for pertinent information on a specific topic or problem. After a careful systematic search for pertinent information or data on a specific topic, a problem, after a researcher has analyzed and interpreted the data, he eventually faces another essential task, that of preparing for. The purpose of research is the preservation and improvement of the quality of human life. A specific purpose of research are discovery of new facts or phenomena, find answers to problems, improvement of techniques and development of new instruments, discovering pathways of known substances, ordering related valid generalization into systematic science, and many other purposes. These basic knowledge of research are very important. But before we continue, let me introduce about my channel. Reading. This is a simple yet interesting and important topic for those who like to always learn new things or to acquire additional ideas and lessons. But before we continue, let me introduce myself and about my YouTube channel. Hi to all new viewers, thank you for viewing and please subscribe and don't forget and click the notification bell so that you'll always be advanced to my new video vlogs. And to all my subscribers, thank you. I'll continue doing all my best and utmost effort to share you about life, environment, music, and travel. In life, I included educational and academic vlogs with aim to amuse, to entertain, and to inform, and to inspire. Thank you. Enjoy viewing. Most of our previous research experience may have been in English classes, but we should be also prepared for instructors in academic disciplines to assign papers with significant research topics that have recently been assigned in a broad range of undergraduate courses. The following these are anthropology. We identify, observe, and gather data about a particular subculture within the campus community, describe the internal dynamics of this group, and description for the dynamics in terms of relevant anthropologists and sociologists. In art history, discuss the main differences between the art of the Filipino people before the Spanish era and during the influence of the colonizers, or between the pre-American occupation and American era in the Philippines, or etc. And for the foreign Filipino studies, address an important socio-psychological issue for the foreign Filipino communities and or individuals, for example, the effects of differences in culture, gender role relations, academic achievement, assertiveness, or interracial marriage. Review both the theoretical and research literature on the issue. Conduct personal interviews and draw conclusions from your data. For environmental studies, choose a problem or issue of the physical environment at any level from local to global. Use both field and library work to explore the situation. Include coverage of the following. Number 1. The history of our issue or problem. Number 2. Various interest groups involved, taking note of conflicts among them. Number 3. Political facts and theories from environmental science necessary to understand and evaluate the issue or problem. Number 4. Impact and significance of management measures already taken or proposed. Number 5. Your recommendations for management of the solution. For the film studies, choose a particular period of Filipino film or foreign film and discuss the major film trends or production problems within that period. For history, write a paper analyzing the history of public policy. Example, the Philippine Supreme Court's role in abolishing death penalty law, etc., and other issues related or about history, drawing your sources from the best, most current scholarly histories available. In physics, research and write a paper on new invention on gadget power bank from solar energy or any other alternative source of energy to generate electricity or consumption. Basic physical theory, history and development, structure and materials, types and characteristics, practical uses, state of the art, and future prospects. For political science, explain the Mining Act policy in the last few decades and then focusing on one specific controversy. Explain and analyze the way in which policy was adopted and why consider such questions as why there are still problems and questions about environmental mining related problems, how the government implement the policy and prohibition, who permitted the continuous mining, who or what company is being permitted, how much and who should be allowed for further mining industries. For psychology, explore some issues related to the testing of mental ability, for example, the effects of the time limits on test reliability. For the religious studies, select a particular religious group or movement present in the nation for at least 20 years and show its beliefs or practice has changed since members of the group have been in the Philippines or in the group began in the Philippines since its first generation. For sociology, write on one of the following topics. Number 1, a critical comparison of two or more theories of deviance. Number 2, field or library research study of a specific deviant career. Thieves, drug addicts, prostitutes, corrupt politicians, university administrators. Number 3, portrayals of deviance in popular culture. Example, television accounts of terrorism, incest, spouse abuse. Number 4, old age as a form of deviance. Number 5, the relationship between homelessness and mental illness. Some of these research papers allow students a considerable change of choice within the general subject. Others are highly specific and requiring students to address a particular issue. Most of these papers call for some library research. A few call for a combination of library and field research. Others may be based entirely on field research. An overview of the many steps involved in writing research papers. Keep in mind that as with other synthesis projects, writing research papers is a recursive process. You may not necessarily follow these steps in the order below, and you will find yourself backtracking and looping. This is not only normal, it is essential to carefully develop research. Find a subject, decide what subject you are going to research and write about. Develop a research question. Formulate an important question that you would like to answer through your research. Conduct preliminary research. Consult knowledgeable people, general and specialized encyclopedias, overviews and bibliographies in recent books. The bibliographic index and subject headings. Guides. Conduct focus research. Consult books, electronic databases, general and specialized periodicals, biological indexes, general and specialized dictionaries, government publications, and other appropriate sources. Conduct interviews or even the in the internet. Conduct interviews and surveys as necessary. Develop a working thesis. Based on your initial research, formulate a working thesis that attempts to respond to your research question. Develop a working bibliography. Keep a working bibliography, either paper or electronic, of your sources. Make this bibliography easy to sort and rearrange. Evaluate sources. Attempt to determine the veracity and reliability of your sources. Use your critical reading skills. Check book review, digest, look up biographies of authors. Take note from sources. Paraphrase and summarize important information and ideas from your sources. Copy down important quotations. Note page numbers from sources of this quoted and summarized material. Arrange your notes according to your outline. Develop a working outline of topics to be covered in your paper. Arrange your notes according to this outline. Write your draft. Write the preliminary draft of your paper, working from your notes according to your outline. Avoid plagiarism. Take care to cite all quoted, paraphrased, and summarized source material, making sure that your own wording and sentence structure differ from those of your sources. Cite sources. Use in-text citations and a works cited or references list according to the conventions of the discipline.
Research handbooks
MLA,
generally
APA,
advise students
CBA.
to narrow
Revise
their
your draft.
subjects as much
Use
as
transitional
possible.
words and
A
phrases to
10-page
ensure
paper on the
coherence.
modern
Keep
feminist
for
movement, for
style.
example,
Make sure
would
that
be
the research
unmanageable.
paper reads
You would have to
smoothly,
do an enormous
logically, and
quantity
clearly
of
from beginning
research.
to end.
A
Check for
preliminary
grammatical
computer
correctness,
search,
punctuation, and
for example,
spelling.
in a subject would yield several thousand items, and you couldn't hope to produce anything other than a superficial treatment, such as a large subject.
Perhaps more helpful as a guideline on focusing your research is to seek to answer a particular question. A research question, for example, how did the President Duterte administration respond to demand for defense on West Philippine Sea? Did the management or technician or operator of dam in northern Philippines behave responsibly in handling the past flood results of typhoons in provinces and cities?
The essential answer to this research question eventually becomes your thesis, and in the paper, you present evidence that systematically supports your thesis.
For preliminary research, once you have a research question, you want to see what references are available. You want to familiarize yourself quickly with the basic issues and to generate a preliminary list of sources. There are many ways to go about doing this. Some of the more effective ones are listed in the following.
How to find preliminary sources and narrow the subject. Ask your professor for recommended sources on the subject. Ask your college librarian for useful reference tools in your subject area. Read an encyclopedia article on the subject and use the bibliography following the article. Read the introduction to a recent book on the subject and review that book's bibliography. Consult the annual bibliographic index. If you need help in narrowing a broad subject, consult one of the more of the following. The subject heading in a computerized card catalog. Consulting knowledgeable people. When you think of research, you may immediately think of libraries and print material, but don't neglect a key reference source, other people. Your professor can probably suggest fruitful areas of research and some useful sources. Try to see your professor during office hours, however, rather than immediately before class, so that you'll enough time for a productive discussion. Once you get to the library, ask a reference librarian what reference sources, example bibliographies, specialized encyclopedias, periodical indexes, statistical almanacs, you need for your particular area of research. Librarians won't do your research for you but they're glad to show you how to research efficiently and systematically. You can also obtain vital information from people when you interview them, ask them to fill out questionnaires or surveys or to have them participate in experiments. Encyclopedias. Reading an encyclopedia entry about your subject will give you a basic understanding of the most significant facts and issues. Encyclopedias have certain limitations. First, most professors don't accept encyclopedia articles as legitimate sources for academic papers. You should use encyclopedias primarily to familiarize yourself with and to select a particular aspect of the subject area and as a springboard for further research. Also, because new editions appear only once every 5 or 10 years, and information they contain, including biographies,
may not be current. The current editions of the encyclopedia, for example, Encyclopedia Britannica and Encyclopedia Americana, for instance, may not include information about the most recent developments in biotechnology. Keep in mind that the library also contains a variety of more specialized encyclopedias. These encyclopedias restrict themselves for a particular disciplinary area, such as chemistry, law, or film, and are considerably more detailed. And this example like social sciences, humanities, science and technology.
Okay friends, we will continue this topic for my new vlogs. Thank you for viewing.
Webster defined production as the exertion of effort to obtain the needed goods and wealth. Cultivators, bakers, shoemakers, carpenters, merchandisers, lawyers, doctors, nurses, ministers of the gospel, teachers, midwives, janitors, waitresses, waiters, writers, cooks, farmers, servants, and bloggers are all producers as they give their gifts and services for others.